Yeah, I play improvised music on a modular synthesizer. And it's almost entirely modular. I use a couple pedals and I have some complicated routing through a mixer, but mostly it's all modular synthesis. And the music that I make is sort of a hybridized version of noise and techno music, but I don't really consider myself an insider for either of those genres. So it's sort of this very incorrect version of both, presented in like sort of an aggressive live way. So it's sort of like punk too. I grew up sort of in the Northwest during a time when Riot Girl, like Bikini Kill, things like that were like kind of starting. So I went to a lot of those shows, and like I would go on these trips. San Francisco had a really good, very experimental sort of like punk grindcore scene going on. So I would go down and like see bands like Man is the Bastard and Gasp and these like crazy bands that would come over from Japan just to play one show, and they would play like 10 minutes. So like that's kind of what I got into initially. And then when I was about 18, I moved to Portland and met a bunch of like people who had really great taste in music and had huge record collections. So I learned about things like Dead Sea and This Heat and all these sort of like experimental punk bands, like bands that took it further and further. I was always interested in techno, but never really liked to go to like club nights. And I understand the purpose of DJs, but I think that like for me to see live music, I like risk. And I feel like DJ sets like are never as messy as I want them to be. So but I was really excited by some of the records, like especially Underground Resistance, because they're like very political, and like particularly Drexcia. And there's a couple Drexcia tracks that are just like super hard, really high BPM electro, and that was like the thing that I really liked. I mean, of course, like I thought Basic Channel was good, but like for me, it was all like the really aggressive, like Detroit, political techno. I'm mostly working with sounds that are like percussive and like oscillator, like melodic oscillators and things like that. So when I perform, there's, certain aspects that are very consistent, but I also have a good deal of flexibility for rhythmic content. And I have some other, like, I have this one module that sounds like kind of a string instrument, almost like a piano or like a bass guitar, that the way I have it triggered, it can get really like arrhythmic and strange. All these different parameters that I can like tweak, which is basically what I do. There's like elements that are set up, and then I have ways that I can change it live. And then there are all these like routing loops, because I have a matrix mixer where I have, all these different outputs that I can sort of automate using LFOs, and have, these sort of like gates sending audio signals into different processing loops. It's pretty fun.